I've been working out for quite a few years now. I found it's easier to stay in shape when I do a lot of different things. That way I never get bored. So I never quit.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Craig Blanchett, our host this evening. He had no idea I was going to play that commercial from the 80s.
No, I didn't. I'm just like, what the heck is going on right now? That's hilarious. Well, good evening, everybody. Yes, I am Craig Blanchett, and it's my honor to host the call tonight. Let's talk. And let me get my slideshow going here. We're gonna have a great presentation. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy it as much as I did creating it. So tonight we're talking about the mental game and it's kind of getting into our brain because all of our habits and all the things we do start with feelings or emotions or stuff in our brains, and that transpires into the choices we make, the words we use, and ultimately the bodies that we get to live in. So why we do what we do without thinking and how to change it. So this is the whole idea of running kind of in an autopilot mode versus running on purpose. And so we're just gonna get right into it tonight. And by the way, welcome everybody. If this is your first time, we're glad to have you. Who recognizes this? You guys probably can be sending me some message in the chat. I just pulled up the chat so I can see some of those as well. But who recognize that? You know, in the middle of the day or you're in the evening and you're walking over and to the fridge, you're looking in there and you're wondering, um, you're saying things like, well, I opened the fridge and I forgot why am I in here? How did I get in here? Right? Maybe you're scrolling Instagram for just a second and it turns out to be multiple minutes later. What about eating with the TV on and not even really realizing that how much you've eaten? You know, it's like I'm just eating and I taste it, but I don't really acknowledge that I'm actually tasting it. I'm just kind of just consuming, right? It's a brainless consummation of calories, right? What about reading something and you have to go back and read that paragraph multiple times? What about saying yes only to regret maybe your yes later? So if you've done that, yeah, I see a lot of you guys. Yep, that's me. No, not at all. That's funny. Um, so it's not about shaming ourselves. It's about noticing the moment we went missing in our brains and getting ourselves back. So it's like the minute that we went on autopilot and we just started mindlessly consuming something. And that's the key because autopilot is actually a really good thing. It's a really good thing when you're driving, you know, that you can be talking to someone on the phone and you don't run red lights and you don't, you know, drive off the road. So autopilot is really good for a lot of things. Think of all the thoughts you have maybe while you're um, exercising, or maybe you're in the shower or whatever. And imagine if you had to be so on purpose with everything you did, you know. And so autopilot is really good for routine tasks, unless those routine tasks are consumption of calories. Autopilot is horrible when it comes to that. Those things that stick on later. So when we think about it, when we're mindless, that equals disconnected or not on purpose. You know, we're just kind of a robot going through the motions. And so you're doing something, but your mind and your intentions are not really in it. A lot of times people will say the term stop and smell the roses, right? And that's trying to get us to stop and say, where are we at? Well, what's going on here? Are we enjoying what we're doing? Are we on a trail? We're out in nature. We're out doing something and literally stopping. You see a rose and you don't just see it, but you stop and you smell the roses, right? You stop and you look at that amazing picture. Or when you're going out to eat, you stop and you appreciate. When was the last time you appreciated just looking at the colors of your lean and green? I'm guilty of that. I'm just like, what tonight, my wife fixed us broccoli nachos. So it's really simple. It's like 3 ingredients: broccoli, mozzarella cheese, and some ground lean beef. Just kind of mixed together. And, I pretty much I enjoyed the conversation, but I pretty much just ate the meal. I didn't really stop and look at the colors and all that, right? So not really in it. There's no pause, there's no check-in. There's just go, go, go. Get her done. Go get it. It feels passive, it feels automatic, being mindless. Some things you can do that are mindless. And like I said, those are good things. Food is not one of them, right? So you're driven by an urge or a default structure, right? The like, hey, I think I should go. I think I need a little something, right? And so then that impulse or that urge, you find yourself in the pantry, or you find yourself in the refrigerator, you find yourself up in the middle of the night. These kinds of things, what I'm talking about is kind of that mindless calorie consumption. And bottom line, you don't need calories in the middle of the night. It's just not true. So you're going to be fine. So when was the last time you ate and didn't remember it? Everybody's talking about my broccoli nachos. That's so funny. Um, yeah, earlier today, right? You think about you eating a nice meal. Think about the meal that you had maybe on your last birthday or anniversary. Do you even really remember what it was? I know for me, the the time when the meal is the most important is bite zero, right? So you got a steak in front of you, and the best bite is the one before the first one. It's that anticipation. Then after you're into maybe one or two bites, you're just kind of mindlessly eating. You could even be full, but it tastes good and it's a distraction, and you're just kind of plowing through it. Those are all calories, and those all calories add up eventually, right? So think about that. Think about mindlessly doing things. Make sure that they're calorie free, right? Or they're not really sucking your time. So we're talking about this idea of autopilot, and autopilot is triggered by a habit. Maybe, when we work from home, we have a food factory. We call that the kitchen, and it's in our homes. And we can go there and we can get food all day long. If you were at work, you might not have a food factory right there. It might be time to actually work, and you have to, go out to eat, or you have to go to the lunchroom or something to actually eat. But usually, this autopilot is triggered by a habit, like brushing your teeth, or an emotion. I'm feeling a little lonely. I'm feeling a little anxious. I'm feeling a little bored. Something like that, right? It's little to no awareness, just enough to get you to act or move or go to the thing. And this is a big one: prioritizes right now rather than later. I'm going to break that down a little bit here. When you have these impulses to get up and go eat, it's prioritizing changing your state of mind right now, but it has little reference or respect to the plans that you laid when you woke up this morning. The plan that when you started your latest health kick, all right? When you decided you wanted to get this weight off for good this time, right? The only thing that's going to keep your weight off is if you change the way you are. That's it. You can't temporarily eat a certain way and expect long-term change. It just won't happen. So prioritizing the now and the urgent rather than considering the after, the later, what comes next, right? It often leads to regret or even shame. because we said we were going to eat good today. And by golly, we got up this morning with good intention and a good structure and a quality plan. And then as the day went on, we find ourselves jonesing for something. Maybe we got into a little autopilot. Maybe we were trying to distract ourselves from things in our day that we didn't like. And so we find ourselves going off our plan, changing our plan, and that urgency to change your plan usually is a bad decision. It's not a decision that considers tomorrow. It only considers now, right? So there's some trade-offs here. Here's the big trade-off. Comfort now versus confidence later. So we got two different loops here. We got the autopilot loop, right? You got the impulse, the mindless action. Impulse, mindless action. Those top two ones just swirl around. Impulse, mindless action. And that leads to short-term relief, but a long-term consequence. And what is that long-term consequence? Consequence. I noticed I spelled that wrong just now. Thank you for that. But think about that short-term relief, long-term consequence. And that long-term consequence is you've done about 50 different diets. And the one you're on right now ain't working out too good, right? Because you still are listening to those mindless actions and those impulses that are just happening. They're only concerned with right now. The other thing I think about is this is the steps to really having a plan and a process that changes you. You think about the long-term reward, right? And then it's the short-term discomfort, but it leads you on a path, a purposeful path to take you where you want to go. When you guys started the 501 the first time, that's what you did. You were on that purposeful path, right? Long-term reward, you were having some good success, you were really clear, and then the novelty of the whole thing kind of started to wear off. Novelty is the newness of the newest diet. Some of you guys have been on and off the 501 for a long time, and it ain't working for you. You've gained most, if not all, your weight back, and you keep going back to it every Monday saying, I'm going to get it this time, right? It's not. Novelty's gone, so you can't borrow energy from novelty. It's just the actual work. One thing I said a couple weeks ago was, consider making your health more like laundry and less like Disneyland. Think about that. The idea of just the standard things that you do every day, and the result is clean clothes. Versus Disneyland, where you get all excited, right? And if you stayed at Disneyland for a week, you would probably lose your mind, right? Because the novelty worn off and you realize there's just a lot of stuff I don't really want around me. But in the beginning, it's all awesome and amazing. So think about these two different paths, autopilot loop versus the purposeful path, the decision you make. I had one of my clients, and for 1 week, she's been on the 501 journey now for about a month and maybe 2 months. And 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, she lost 0.8 pounds in a week. And then the next week, she lost 0.6 pounds. And I'll be really clear. If you're not losing 1 to 3 pounds each week, you're missing something. It's just biology. Okay. And so she said, what do I do when I get hunger pains? I hope you guys are listening, because here's a massive tip about to drop. She said, what do I do when I have hunger pains? And I said, I have noticed that hunger pains come when my body is optimizing fat burning. So it's like it's double dipping on the fat, and I'm biologically hungry. And so I just asked her, I said, will you die if you don't eat? And she said, no. And I said, when are you going to eat next? She goes, in less than 2 hours. And I go, so what if you were just hungry for a little bit and you're going to be fine? And she just kind of laughed and she said, you're right. I'm just a little hungry. I don't need to solve my hunger with something. I said, just gut it out. Be a little bit hungry. Drink some water. Don't try to solve it. And you're going to 2 hours later, you're going to eat again. The next week, she lost 3.8 pounds. 3.8. And I said, so what do you think? She goes, I don't mind being a little hungry. Think of the difference there. 0.8, 0.8, 0.8, 3.8. Imagine how quickly you'll get to your goal weight if you just navigated a little bit of hunger once in a while. Just sucked it up, right? It's only hunger. It's not going to kill you. So, next step here, pause, 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 right? This is like stop, challenge, choose, right? Similar to that. So you got to start stopping. That's like notice. Notice, why am I in the kitchen? Why am I standing in front of this refrigerator? Ask yourself, or you have the thought, I think I need to go into the kitchen. I think I need to go find a little something, something, right? If you ever say a little something, something, put a 1 in the chat, right? And then ask yourself, why now? Right? Yeah, you guys are awesome. Why now? Why do I think I need to go get some food now? Right? And you may look at your watch and you say, is it within the hour of fueling? 2 hours is the earliest, 3 hours is the latest. Don't go over 3 hours, people. It messes with your blood sugar. Favor 2 hours more than 3 hours, right? And if it's not time to eat, then you have to make a decision to choose to eat on purpose and choose not to eat on purpose. Many of the folks I work with, they'll say, well, I wasn't really hungry, so I didn't eat. And I said, why are you letting hunger determine whether you're going to eat or not eat? Why don't you eat on a schedule, right? Eat when you have purposed to eat, and it's less than 3 hours. Those are those windows that you got to hit. So pause, pause, pause. Notice, what are the thoughts going on in my head? Ask myself, why now? Why is this so important that I need to do this right now? Right? And then choose to do whatever you're going to do on purpose, not out of impulse or just a fleeting idea. Okay. And so, where in your lives do you find that you get checked out? Where are you operating on default, on that autopilot? Can you guys think of some areas where you do that? Is it on the weekends? Is it in the evenings? Are you at home during the day and the kids are gone? Where are the times when you find yourself checking out? Is it while driving in the car? Maybe it's on road trips. Oh, I have to eat something or I'll fall asleep. How about you just drive when you're rested? Evenings. Evenings is a huge big one, guys. If you guys think of this here, for those of you that struggle, you start the day great, and after 6, it's the wild, wild west. I'm talking to you right now. What if the separation between your thriving and success was you battling evening hunger and you gave yourself a eating curfew? Never heard that before. But what if you gave yourself a curfew on eating and you just didn't eat after a certain time, no matter what? One thing, you're not going to die. You're not going to starve. You might suffer a little bit of hunger. But what if that was your area of weakness and you put it in a headlock and busted it up? What if you just took out both gloves and you just battled? I know for me that's what it is. I like to get a little cereal around 8 o'clock. Who's with me on the cereal at 8 o'clock, right? And the cold almond milk and the crunchy cereal. Of course, it's a good cereal, so I can lose all those excuses. It's almond milk and it's protein cereal and it's good for me and it's healthy. I don't need to be eating cereal at 8:30 at night. I just don't. And I noticed that I maintain my weight better when I just put a curfew on my evening bowl of cereal. I haven't died. I'm still here, people. right? Have these thoughts and go in and battle it. Like, what if the struggle you've had your whole life that's gone on for decades at a low level struggle? What if you just ramped it up and you battled in the evening and you just said, no, I'm not going to eat. I don't care. I'll go in and I'll brush my teeth. And then we go in a different room. We get away from the where the kitchen is, right? Brush my teeth, get away from the kitchen. And then I just tell my wife, I'm not getting out of bed tonight. I'm not going to go eat. And I talk to myself, nope, I'm just not going to do it. I know I could, and I know I think I want to, and I know it's healthy, and I know all those things. Nope, it's just not happening. I'm telling you, if that is the time when you go off the rails, what would it look like for you to tear it up, set that curfew, struggle a little bit on purpose? Ugh, it's so good. Oh man, I just think some of you guys you're this close to a breakthrough that's going to change your whole life. And you're going to just be like, you're going to wake up the next morning and you're going to, just what I do. I go, nailed it. Everybody, where you're sitting right there, just imagine yourself, close your eyes, just go, nailed it, right? You wake up in the morning and you know you kept your curfew, you kept your promises to yourself, and you were eating on purpose at the right time, and you wake up, nailed it, right? That could be you. Why wouldn't it be you? Have you disqualified yourself? I don't think so. I think you're just one more day away. Let's get some. So, um, the weakness versus wiring your brain. It's not going to be easy. Don't expect it to be easy. You want to stop and you want to observe yourself. Why am I thinking what I'm thinking? Why am I feeling what I'm feeling? Why is this so important to me right now? Why is this little darn innocent cupcake such an important thing to me right now? Why is it got its hooks in me? To me, man, when my flesh starts to kind of creep up and it wants to dominate me, I'm like, oh, sucks to be you, flesh. Now you're not getting any of it. If I'm thinking about fasting and I'm really struggling with it, that's double dog dare you reasons to fast that day. Whatever that is, when your flesh is really wanting to avoid it, lean into it, crank it. I know when I do cold showers, and man, I'm in the shower going, I don't think I need a cold shower today. And I'm having this little battle in my head. I don't need to do that, even though there's all those benefits of endorphins and all that stuff in my head. Oh, it's all good. No, I don't need to do it. And now I'm definitely doing it. When you feel yourself trying to talk yourself out of it, lean into it, right? Observe yourself. Our brain seeks ease plus reward. That's autopilot. Ease plus reward. Oreo cookies, anyone? Right? Ease, reward, double stuff. I don't like double stuff, but impulse, right? And mindlessness doesn't take much energy to really work at that. You just kind of go with the flow. You're an innocent bystander in the demise of yourself. Where did that sentence come from? Yeah, an innocent bystander in the demise of yourself. What if you were on purpose, not on autopilot? You think about, I'm going to enjoy this now, and then I pay the consequences later. I beat myself up. Well, you can rewire your brain, but only through repetition and resistance to those things that want to be satisfied right now. They want their due and they want it right now, and they do not care about tomorrow. I'm sure circumstances happen with you guys where you have been like, I know this cinnamon roll is not going to be good for me, but I'll get back to my XYZ tomorrow, right? Or you've lost weight on the 501 and you've gained it back, and somewhere in your little brain there's this little voice that says, I can lose this weight like I did the first time anytime. And it's that complacency of certainty where you think, I can lose it again. Oh, just not today, though. I'll get to that tomorrow. Oh, I can lose it again, just not today. I'll get to it tomorrow. There is no tomorrow, right? Actually, yesterday you said tomorrow. So what's it like to just struggle a little bit, but struggle on purpose with intention for the right reasons, that your future self gets to wake up in the morning and says, are you ready? Are you doing it with me? Nailed it. Come on, do it with me. Nailed it. Right? Think about waking up in the morning and just being like, yeah, I battled yesterday. You can rewire that brain of yours. I had some challenges here as we're finishing up tonight. One of the things that I was doing today, because I was putting the finishing touches on this presentation, and I was trying to come up with these graphics and different things. And so I use AI to create graphics. And so what was very interesting that I stopped and noticed, it says, observe yourself. And as I'm working on my presentation, I'm actually doing it with me. And I'm like, well, it takes 3 to 5 minutes sometimes to create a graphic. And so I'm like, well, maybe I'll hop on social media while I'm waiting for this graphic to do. Or maybe I'll go into the kitchen and I'll get a little something, something, or maybe and I just kept getting distracted with these little things instead of just being patient and being present and not having to have every minute of my day be occupied or consumed with something. I just can be patient and wait for the graphic to come up, right? And I was just noticing all of these little things in me today that were just trying to pull me away and distract me from this and distract me from that. My wife and I are watching the show Alone right now, and they've got a lot of time to just sit with their thoughts. And they have work, sleep, eating, and finding water. That's about all they have. They don't have any other things to distract them. And it's amazing when you stop and you put the technology away, you put the distractions away, and you just observe yourself and that desire. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this today. And I want you to kind of remember about that eating curfew, giving yourself a curfew each day. And I want you to imagine you waking up the next morning and saying it with me. You guys ready? Nailed it. All right, you guys. You guys have been fantastic tonight. Coming up here on May 5th, we have one of our famous once a month. It's the Health Pros Live Q&A. And so we loved bringing those back after so many years, bringing those back to the forefront here. And we get to talk to our health professionals and ask them questions and all of that. So you can tune in next week for the Health Pros Live. And that'll be on May 5th. So thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next time.